By the way, the candidates wanted to let me have you understand that they're probably going to take their suit jackets off. It's not a measure of disrespect. It's a measure of self-preservation. It's hot in here. We're also trying to round up a couple of bottles of water for the candidates as well. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime. Bill, tell me when you're ready. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Fulton Education Center. It's the site of tonight's debate among the three candidates vying for mayor of the city of Fulton. My name is Dave Bullard. I'm the one of the co-owners and the managing editor of OswegoCountyToday.com, and we're pleased to be able to sponsor this event tonight and bring it to the community. I'd like to introduce the candidates now. They will come out in rather random order. Their order of introduction was determined not by a coin flip, but by who sat down where when they got in the building. We'll start with Tom Kenyon. Tom is a member of the Fulton Common Council. He's a former member of the Fulton Board of Education and also of the Fulton Library Board. Please welcome Tom Kenyon.
We're stripping.
Take that coat off, Tom. Show the muscles. I'd like to introduce now a political newcomer. He is a sergeant on the campus police force at Cayuga Community College and a member of our community for a long time, Mr. Ralph Stacy, Jr. And the coat comes off. And our third candidate tonight is the incumbent mayor of Syracuse, Ron Woodward, who is the mayor. You can tell where I work, right? The incumbent mayor of the... Hey, listen, Syracuse they would be lucky to have us, okay? Ron Woodward is the incumbent mayor of Fulton. Thank you. He is a 12-year member of the Fulton Common Council before that and actually served another term as mayor of Fulton before that. Please welcome Ron Woodward.
Whoa.
Everybody in here?
The table's on wheels. It can run away, but you can't. All right.
Yeah, I will for one.
So tonight we'll ask you several questions from the podium, and then we will take questions from the comment cards that people left as they came in tonight. It's a pleasure to have a full house tonight. I think you would agree. It's a good sign for democracy in our community. Let's start with Mr. Kenyon on the far end. A simple question. Why do you want to be mayor?
Well, I've lived here all my life. I love this community. I've been on the library board. I've been on the school board. I've been an alderman, and I just think we need a new direction in the city right now.
Okay, I'll follow up quickly. What new direction?
New direction? It's getting out of the real estate business, Dave.
Okay, we'll explore that tonight. Mr. Stacy.
Thank you for having me here tonight, Mr. Bullard. I want to be mayor primarily because I care about this community. I'm raising 4 children with my wife, Melissa, the lovely young lady down there in the front row. And I don't want my children to grow up and be forced to leave because of a lack of opportunity. I've watched a lot of my friends leave, family leave, people I graduated with gone. It's got to stop. We need to fix the problems we have in the city by working together. And there's multiple problems that we're going to have to deal with. Some's going to be painful, some not. I commend Mr. Woodward and Mr. Kenyon for their service to the city, and they've done the best they can. But I think I may have a few more ideas that we can just push us over the top and make city truly a city with a future.
Thank you, Mr. Woodward. Why do you want to come back?
Well, I've been in this as the 4th year of this term, and I love the city too. I was born and raised here, raised my family here, 3 children. I have 8 grandchildren here, 2 great-grandchildren, and 1 on the way. In the last 4 years, I've seen the economy in the country, in the state, really dip. I mean, I believe we're in a depression. They'd like to call it a recession because nobody wants to get voted out at the higher levels either. But in all my years of working here, and I've devoted most of my adult life to some type of community service, including Salvation Army Board of Directors. I was a scout leader in the 6th Ward for 9 years. I was a board member of the American Cancer Society, alderman for 12 years, executive assistant to Mayor Hayden for 4. And I have done what I could do to keep taxes down in Fulton the last 4 years. We have not raised them. Although we were dubbed the highest combined rate, the only thing I can do is about city taxes. I can't affect school or county. And I don't knock them. They're in the same problems we are. I don't want to abandon the ship now. I think I have the experience. Right now I'm in the middle of contract negotiations with the fire department, looking for a lot of concessions. I've had to eliminate 17 positions in 4 years. Not a fun thing to do. I've renegotiated a lot of our maintenance contracts, a lot less than what they were. In fact, one that the council voted on Tuesday was the Christmas tree lighting. I got that down 20%, which is good. First time in 10 years. I changed the way city used to auction their surplus goods, their police cars, or all that. We used to have an auction for 50 years down the DPW once a year. We paid people overtime to do it. We went to Auction International. A police car that used to go for $300 and end up in a neighborhood with a broken windshield goes for $4,500 now. Because the Crown Victorias are used in New York City for taxis, and they buy every one of them. And it costs nothing to put it on Auction International. They charge a buyer's premium. It doesn't cost the city anything. Now, I do think I've got the experience, and I think that I've got a handle on a lot of it. I wish things were better. They're not. And there's a lot of real serious decisions that got to be made in the future. And I've seen throughout the years, I've worked with a lot of administrations, a lot of politicians, which I am. Not everybody can make the decisions that are hard because they all involve people's lives. That's it, Dave.
All right. In that round of introductions, Mr. Kenyon threw an issue on the table, so let's explore that a little bit. The issue which he referred to is your practice, Mayor, of finding homes. Sometimes they are not single-family homes, but they can occasionally be homes that were converted to 2 or 3 family. And when they're seized by the city for back taxes, instead of selling them at a tax auction for the amount of back taxes, you have instead, in several cases, 5 I think so far, used a combination of city workers and contractors to rehabilitate the homes, take the multifamilies, put them back to single family, and sell them at market rate. Mr. Kenyon, what's wrong with that, and why should that stop?
Well, Dave, I don't know. We've got different figures here. The mayor says some figure, but when you pull up on the website, it says we got city-owned 122 parcels. The problem I got with that is the way the mayor's doing it, we're putting 3 to 4 back on the tax rolls every year. The way I want to do it is like, if you look in the paper, the county, they auction off every year. Every town, even the city of Oswego, is auctioning off houses with the county. In the paper, it tells you, I think the last 3 years, they've had one parcel left after everybody gets done. I would like to put them all on. I mean, if we got 122 and that's commercial parcels, empty lots, we're going to get more tax money out of it as far as I'm concerned. and it's going to help our revenue to bring this city back. We'll get more people living here, more people buying stuff here, and jobs, be buying lumber, everything else. So I just think we do that instead of the way we're doing it.
Mr. Stacy?
I think all three of us up here can agree we need to get as many properties back on the tax rolls as possible. Property that's owned by the city is exempt. We're not making anything off it. What I would like to look at is taking these properties, perhaps selling them at a reduced price to people under conditions such as you must fix the house up to code and make it look beautified in your neighborhood within so many months, say maybe 16 months to 2 years. If they promise to do that, and they do that, then we offer them some kind of tax incentive for 5 years. Now, obviously, we're not going to get the maximum amount off the assessment and off the taxes in the beginning. But as time goes on, the assessments can be raised. We can get them up at an equitable rate, and we can make money off these without putting any more city resources or money than absolutely necessary. And that's an option I'd like to look at. Obviously, we'd have to look at laws, city ordinances to make sure that's proper before we did anything with that. But that's something I'd like to explore.
Mayor Woodward, you've heard your program tackled here a couple of times now. Why is it the right thing to keep doing, in your opinion?
Well, the first year I was in office for this election, I visited many of the neighborhood watch groups. The biggest problems that I heard over and over and over and over again were the problems they were having in houses, many of them sold by the city through tax foreclosures. They went to investors, and a good part of them didn't live in Fulton. They'd slap a coat of paint on them, and many times, I will tell you, more times than not, they went for less than what the taxes were owed on, just to get rid of them. We used to have public auctions right at City Hall in the council chambers. So I looked at I went back to City Hall, and for a week or two I said, what can I do different? Now the CDA has taken some tax foreclosures, and they get grants, and they rehab them into first-time home buyers. The only thing I looked at was actually trying to change the demographics of the city, because the first-time home buyer programs are wonderful programs, but they're subsidized. They're dependent on the federal and state government underwriting the down payments, things like that. They cost $100,000 to build if you build a new one, or you got 90 into an old one, and you get $60,000 out of it. I said, what if the city started doing it and sold them in market value? No subsidy. I thought, what is wrong with getting a working family in that could afford a mortgage back into the neighborhoods to start stabilizing? Because at one point we were almost 48% rental. That's way too much. Way too much. We ended up being property managers for landlords. Well, call us if our tenant does something. The cops come, call us. If they got trash out, call us. I don't think that's a function the taxpayers ought to absorb. Now, if you could make most of code enforcement go away by eliminating that, then you would save money. In 1986 and 87, I was mayor. We had city court once a month. We have it every day now, and it's coming from our housing stock. So something has to be done. Is there a better way? Maybe. Now, in the beginning, the first house we did, we used city workers to do all the work. Okay? In reality, during the times that we had to eliminate 17 positions, most of them were by attrition, but 6 of them were by layoffs. So I had 2 crews, one in the water department and one in sanitation. Each had 8 people. But when I reduced those positions, they ended up with 4 each. So I had to start using contractors. And I'm the clerk of the works for all that. And of course, my administrative assistant does most of the spreadsheets and stuff for us. But I solicit all the bids. They're all with City of Fulton registered contractors. They're all with licensed plumbers out of Fulton, licensed electricians. Some of them are here tonight. And I tried very hard on any of the building materials to buy them in Fulton. I think in the 6 homes we did, $40,000 went to Berg's Lumber. Them people live and work here. And every place that we've done one of those homes, the neighbors have participated in it. We have a senior citizen next to the first house we did, and she went and picked out the stain for the fence. She was part of it, and she's so glad that she knew she was going to have a young family living in that house. Now, I know it's controversial. From day one, I've been hit with the investors that used to get it. It's pretty hard if you're an investor to give it up when you could go to City Hall, stand outside, say to your buddy, well, I'm going to get that one. You're going to get that one. I'm going to get that one. They control the prices. Some of them that bid on it, you tell me that. So it didn't work. Now, is what I'm doing the best thing? No. And I got to tell you, I can't think of anybody that's got more heat over it than I do. If I'm mayor, I'm going to keep doing it because I think it's the only thing to do to stabilize our neighborhoods. Now, I come up with 111 properties that are owned by the city. I had a gentleman give me at the council meeting a list, but going through them, and I haven't got through all of them, but 12 of them are parking lots. You have to understand, whatever's off the rolls that government owns, it still has to have a value set to it, and it still has to be located on real property. They're just in different row sections. See, we've got 8 municipal parking lot, 8 municipal parks, 12 parking lots, City Hall, the library. Now, the YMCA, there's one lot next to it in the town of Granby. That's part of North Bay when it was bought by the Case family years ago. And North Bay's on there because these lists came from the whole county. Sewage treatment plants on there. There's 3 what we call paper streets on there. They all have a value assessed to them. There's 12 major sewer pump stations on there on this list. There's Great Bear Farm. There's a separate deed listed in Volney for the water line that comes from Great Bear Farm. That number is very skewed. Now, we'll get to what we actually own that we're talking about. There's 11 single-family homes that we took, not just during this administration, but over the years. In them 11, see, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them have to come down. When we got them back, the people that walked away from them, it was a couple of years before we took them. The weather got to them, they got to come down. The problem is, if you sold them at auction, and they went to somebody that didn't care about Fulton, they only cared about the dollar, they'd put a few jack posts here and there. They wouldn't remove the lead paint and the asbestos like we do. They'd slap a coat of paint on, go somewhere home nice, not here, and collect their rent. And when you call them about a problem, call the police. That's why they're there. So I understand the concern, but I will tell you, if that's a reason to throw me out, then throw me out because I'm committed to the neighborhoods and I'm going to keep doing it. We have, well, I won't keep, these guys got things to do. One of those buildings is I'm going to mention for them. We own the CDA building across the river. We get $12,000 a year in rent. We own the Longley building on 481 in Broadway. We took it on taxes. I asked Dennis Longley if he wanted to buy it because he was a tenant there and he runs a clean business. He asked me, he said he would rather rent it. He paid us what he was paying the people we took it from, $18,000 a year. And we have two-family homes that had good tenants, and we continue to rent to them. One of them takes $11,000 a year, and the other one takes $8,000 a year. Now, The combined total of that is $49,000. If we sold them at what they're assessed for, we'd get $3,200 a year out of them. Now we can give them away and let the taxpayers make up that $45,000. But the way I look at it, when we foreclose on a property, that becomes an asset of the taxpayers of Fulton, and we need to be prudent with it. And all the ones we sell through real estate, because then we get some idea of the real value, and everybody's got a shot to buy them. Well, I haven't seen any landlord coming in a city house that we rehab wanting to pay $80,000 or $90,000 for a mortgage. They're more in tune to $2,000 or $3,000. So we shouldn't keep doing it. Maybe, I don't know. So you have to decide that Tuesday.
All right, thank you.
About that, Dave?
Yes.
Mayor, my total here is, the figures I got right at the website is family residential properties are 18 for a total of $757,000. Vacant land, there's 40 vacant lots. That assessment is $246,000. And we got 13 commercial buildings, which is $258,000.
Now, know where the commercial buildings are.
Mayor, could I have the floor, please? So you've said in the newspaper and that you'd rehab 25 houses. You have actually rehabbed 15, and it's been since 2002, which has been 10 years, which is a 1.5 houses in 10 years. No. That's figures right from the website.
Well, I don't know, figures lie sometimes.
No, yeah. When you said in the paper, I read it, and I understand it, but you did not keep following through. You said you rehabbed 25 houses. It's actually been 15.
Okay.
Okay? But to further on, when you say something like that, I did not know. I thought you were talking the last few years. It's been since 2002, which is 10 years, that we put 15 homes back on. I don't think that's good.
Okay. Well, I don't agree with you. Yeah, no, you're entitled to your opinion. We've actually rehabbed 24 houses, and 23 have sold. 5 of them at Market Vale, the city did. I wasn't working on these homes in 2002 because we didn't have the city program. However, 18 of those homes were the first-time home buyer with grants, okay?
I don't like that either.
Well, I know you don't. But to me, the first-time home buyer is better than...
Don't laugh. It's just...
...than some of the investors. I mean, you know, if I lived in a neighborhood that had all R1 families, I wouldn't mind if somebody in an R2 neighborhood had 2 and 3 families, because I don't have to live next to them. I don't have to see the police cars there. I don't have to see the garbage on the lawn or the lawn not mowed. We have to be respectable to every neighborhood in the city, the good ones and the bad, and we've got to do something to try to make the bad ones better. I'm not saying the way I'm doing it, Tom, is the perfect way. It's something I tried, and I persisted on it, and I certainly haven't been without heartburn over it from the people that used to get them and don't get them anymore.
Mayor, I'm not saying that what you've done, the houses come out great. They look great. I'll give you that. But the problem I have is, say a couple got divorced, okay? I hate that first-time homeowner, because maybe that lady or that guy wants to buy a house, they can't. It's just for that first-time homeowner. I don't think that's right.
I agree.
And to go a little further with why I want to auction them off with the county is, if you think about it, we got code enforcement officers, right? You're even one.
Yes, I am.
Matter of fact, if I won, I'd probably hire you. But
I'm probably the toughest one you got.
You're in the court more than anybody.
Yeah.
But anyways, what I'd like to do is stipulate with a city attorney, because I'd have my own city attorney, and I'd stipulate that once they auction those properties off, within a year, they'll be brought back up to code. or they come back to the city. And then, once they're brought up to code, you got a code enforcement officer. And besides that, I'll get into that too later or now, but I'm going to try to use a few firemen to do the codes. But I want to stipulate within a year that they'll be back up. So I don't know how you're saying that they would be dumps.
I'd like to also raise a question to either the mayor or Mr. Kenyon. The properties the city of Fulton is currently renting to businesses, the commercial properties. You mentioned the Longley Building was one of them. On behalf of the people, I'd like to know, who is paying for the upkeep of these properties? Is the tenant responsible for the upkeep, or is the city responsible for the upkeep as far as roofs, appearances, whatnot? And is it in the lease who is responsible for the upkeep?
Actually, it is.
Okay.
And I will tell you, the looks of them, the painting, things like that, the tenant does. If a furnace goes or needs to be repaired, we repair them. Now, when we took that building, there was $90,000 in back taxes on that. We're entering the 4th year of renting that. That we just finished the 3rd year. And we've gotten, 3 times 18 out of it. Now, my feeling is that's a prime commercial location. I can't believe that forever our country is going to be in the drain, or our state. The economy is going to get better, and somebody is going to want to develop that, and the city owns it. Now, if we rent it a few more years, it's ours free and clear. There's no tax dollars on that. And that business is a very reputable business. It's been in Fulton, him and his family, for probably 50 years. It's you're right. You can argue it. There's drawbacks. They're all on the insurance, every one. Now, the 2-family homes, I don't want to hang on to those, but what I've been working on, and we got to get permission from the state government to do it, and the feds, I would like to make the 2-family homes, because both of them, one of them is too big to make single family and is too good a shape to tear down. And I just don't have the heart to take 2 good tenants out of it and take a chance on somebody moving somebody bad in. Okay? I'm looking to try to get a first-time home buyer to buy it, but with the stipulation they got to live in it, because those first-time home buyers are tied to 5 or 10 years. It is no secret that home ownership breeds more pride, and people that live in a home and own it take care of it better. And the thing that would be a plus to that, we can't do it yet because it hasn't been authorized. A young family could go in there that might not be able to afford a mortgage on it, but if they had a good tenant upstairs, that would pay the majority of the mortgage. Now, might be a good idea, might be a bad, but that's my idea.
And Mr. Mayor, can you tell us exactly, or even a ballpark figure of how much a year the city is spending in taxpayer funds to maintain the properties for the city's share of the responsibility? Like you said, the furnaces and so on.
Well, I can tell you Longley, I had, I think it was one of the local contractors, Raponi Plumbing and Heating, last year. Every heating season, he has a little problem with that furnace, mainly because it's an oil furnace. There is a natural gas into it. I think it cost us $100 last year.
All right.
And that's, there's no other costs that are associated yearly that the city's had with these properties?
No.
Okay, so I think now the audience has a good idea of why we will never get through this pile of questions. We've spent, and they're good questions, and this has been a good discussion of a very difficult and complex issue. But we're going to take a short question here. I would like a short answer, 1 minute or less, okay? This is from Dennis Merlino, and he asks, what will you do for me, Mayor?
Well, what I'll do is try to keep your taxes down. Right now, we're in a mode in this city, like a lot of cities, what we're trying to do is just keep everything the way they are till things get better. But I will do everything I can do to make your neighborhood stay good and the neighborhoods around you get better.